What's up, beautiful people? If you're anything like me and my little family, then you've probably been watching The Queen's Gambit on Netflix recently. And if you haven't, or this is far into the future, you should go check it out. It's a really good show that uses chess as an instrument to tell a really good story about a young lady who's been through a lot of crap. She uses chess as a way to get herself out of a bad situation and into being one of the world's best and accomplishing a lot more than a lot of people would have imagined for her, given the circumstances that she found herself in as a young child. Without giving away too much, that's the basic gist of the story. But for me and my daughters who were watching it together, it was a little bit different. It actually took us back about 8 years to 2012 when we accidentally started a chess club in the hood. In today's video, I'm going to share the story of how I was able to teach my kids chess, started a chess club, but also the top 5 reasons why you should teach your kids chess at any age, but especially while they're young and impressionable. Before we do that, welcome to my channel where I'll focus on sharing my experiences and stories as a divorced father, raising children from a distance. I'll talk about personal development and optimization in all areas of life, which have helped me become a better man, a better father, and a better role model for my daughters. So let's get into it. I first got interested in chess years ago through the wise teachings of the Wu-Tang Clan. I learned to play the game, taught myself, but I wasn't very good. I never really played any games with other people, but I knew that chess was a fantastic game that had a lot of benefits, and I knew once I had children that I wanted to teach them. After my divorce from their mother, I'd have my daughters every other weekend, and I made it a ritual every Sunday that we'd go to the park, we'd take some sandwiches, we'd take the chessboard, and we'd just play games. Now you may be wondering how you're able to teach a kid chess or how you would even get them to be interested in it. So one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in life is that whatever you're into as a parent, as a mother, as a father, your kids are probably going to be into. So I was into chess and I made it a point of interest. So they were interested. A few years later, when they were in school, they asked me to come through and hang out after school for the game club. I said, cool. We went, I hung out, and I found a chessboard, so we pulled it out. My daughters and I played for a little bit, and then the kids started hovering. By the end of the day, we were teaching the other kids how the pieces moved and just teaching them the basics of chess. The teacher that was running the game club was really sweet, Miss Pena, shouts out to you. And she became fascinated with the idea, and she also was involved in the little teaching group. Now I can't recall the specifics of this, but I remember that a week or 2 weeks later it came. Now we had multiple chessboards, and within a few more weeks, it was no longer the game club, it was the chess club. So basically, by accident, we kind of created a game club just because we were interested in it and it was fascinating. The teacher bought into it, which was a must. She became really curious about it and became as interested as we were. And then we had a chess club. We had several kids. We started teaching weekly. It was the coolest feeling to look around and see up to a dozen kids playing chess, sometimes a little more and sometimes a little less. Not long after that, the idea of competing started to creep up. We didn't know it, but there was tournaments all over the place. There was regular tournaments for schools to attend. It quickly became apparent once we started attending these tournaments that we were way in over our heads. Other schools had teachers that were really good and they were training killers, and they killed us on the boards. But through sheer determination, our kids did really well, and it was actually pretty impressive. As the years went on, we started doing really well. We're never as high as some of these other schools, but we always competed and we were just that little underdog. The kids started to become a little popular. And one of the other cool things is just to see so many kids involved, and especially at the tournament, so many kids involved in chess and just desiring to compete at something that was so brainy, so geeky, and so nerdy. Now let's get into the top 5 reasons why kids should learn chess. Number 1, learning to think strategically, learning to think 2, 3, 4 moves ahead of time. Now, as a parent, it's easier to touch on the consequences of decisions, because if you move your piece here, what are the possible ramifications of it? 2, learning to lose and win with class and integrity. Now, this is a very important concept in the game of chess, and in a lot of games, actually. Respecting the opponent, respecting the game, respecting the rules of the game are very important. Whether it's losing a very cherished piece like the queen on the board, or losing the game altogether, it is very important to keep your head together, to respect the opponent, to respect the game. But even more important than that is learning how to win. Because there was times when the kids would win and they start bragging and boasting, and that's not something that we wanted our kids to do. We wanted them to win as well with class and with dignity. Number 3, learning to move on quickly. Now, this is a very incredible skill in all aspects of life, but as it relates to chess, is critical. For example, the queen is one of the most important pieces on the chessboard, and it's also the most cherished. So when a player loses their queen, it is not uncommon, especially for children, to lose it. They lose their focus, they start breathing hard, they start getting emotional because now they just lost the queen and they feel like they don't know what to do next. Learning to move on quickly is important because the game continues. The game's not over until you checkmate the king. The queen, besides the king, is the most powerful piece on the board. She moves up and down, left and right, diagonally. She is incredibly powerful. But when she gets captured, it's not the end of the game. The kids have to learn to move on quickly because the game continues. They're still attacking. Your opponent is still attacking you with various other pieces. Like in life, bad things happen. It's unfortunate. You have to keep moving. You can't sulk. You can't mope and think about poor me, wishing that it would just all go away. Instead, you have to take accountability. You have to look at what you've done wrong and move forward because life and the game continues. 4, improve focus. The game requires that the children stay focused on the game because anything can happen at any given moment. If the kids start spacing out, which is common, then there's things that are going to happen that may come out of their awareness because they weren't paying attention. It also helps develop patience and understanding that you have to think strategically and take time to develop your different pieces and your strategy, and it's not just going to happen right away. And also, the end game is critical. That's actually where a lot of kids will lose a lot of games because they didn't have the patience at the end of the game. My daughter, my youngest one, was actually really good at this, where she would wear her opponents out. Literally had kids that were tired, that were exhausted, and they just wanted to move on. But my little one was really good at that and just would wear them out to the point where they'd make a dumb move, or sometimes, I think, if I remember correctly, they just quit. My daughter actually relished it. She's like, yeah, it took forever, and wore the kid out. And if you don't have patience, then they're more than likely going to lose the game. 5, teaching the kids and the players to be creative problem solvers, because no matter how many videos they've watched or how many books they've read and games they've studied, they're not going to remember everything. They have to think creatively about how to get out of problems, how to be defensive and offensive, how to be strategic, and how to be creative about it, because you're not going to see everything that you probably studied. Hell, you may not even remember it. Even with the best strategies, your opponent has their own strategies. And sometimes it's not going to be in any book that you've read or any strategy that you studied, so you have to be creative in the way that you approach it. And for me, the biggest reason of all is that it just prepares them for life. It allows me to be able to use chess as a metaphor and the lessons that we learn there to have discussions with them today, to teach them different things that they will encounter. My kids never became chess champions. And the truth is that we don't even play anymore. Now they have very diverse interests. One is in band, one is in choir. They're doing different things and they're very busy. But I do anticipate that we'll be playing a lot more now that since we started watching the Queen's Gambit. And I'm a little worried because if I remember correctly, I couldn't beat them anymore. Now, remember to subscribe to this channel if you found this video informational and useful. Hit the like button, hit the bell button to be notified of future videos. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to start posting weekly videos on all things personal development and parenting. Because to me, if you become a better person and a better human being, you will easily become a better parent. So until the next video, ta-ta.